While sitting in a coffee shop, a man approaches me and asks, "Why is a pretty girl like you sitting by yourself?" I replied to him, "How do you know I'm not waiting on someone?" He says, "Well, I come here often, and every time I come in, there you are sitting at the corner table all alone. Please tell me if I'm wrong." I tell him, "Sir, you are not wrong, but may I ask why the hell you are watching me?" He says, "I can't help to wonder why a pretty girl is always alone." I say, "Pretty girls sometimes just like the company of a good cup of coffee. Maybe because we just want to hold something warm to our lips when we are tired of dodging icebergs that sink below our surface like the drowning compass swinging from our necks like a frozen keepsake. Alone is the only ocean we can navigate when horizons stand with open arms, persuading our sails to come deeper into raging waters until we find a break of sky and sea." I want to tell him, at least I can hold a cup of coffee in my hands long enough to get to the bottom of something, that a cup of Joe or Eric or Brandon is meant to be thrown away after we are empty, that pretty girls sit alone in coffee shops so no one notices the sound of tears crashing over the grind of espresso, that the grind is familiar, that the deep sigh and release of steam is familiar, that watching cups wrapped in sleeves is the closest thing I'll ever see to love, that pretty doesn't exist in my bed. Pretty doesn't kiss me goodnight or wipe the spilled mess clean. It stains like coffee on a white blouse, familiar, noticeably ruined. He says to me, "But your coffee can't ever tell you that you're beautiful." I replied, "It can't ever tell me that I'm ugly either." We laugh, place our pretty smiles on the counter like a sacrifice, and I want to tell him that being pretty in a coffee shop is better than being pretty alone on your floor, wishing you could pour out all the ugly over the last dress or shoes or body you'll ever seen you in before. He slammed your ears in a scolding soul to tell you how goddamn pretty you used to be and how much more pretty the new dress feels against his skin. Pretty can be such a fucking dangerous word. It can land in your lap like a burning latte, and no matter how much sweet cream or sugar has been served to lighten the bitter, the burn is still forsakingly painful, familiar. This coffee house is the last place I have to be alone, without an old lover's reminders chasing me out of my sleep. I want to tell this man to leave. I want to spit with my pretty mouth all over his shoes. I want to throw my coffee all over his smile, but it is the last thing I have to keep me company. So instead I tell him, "Be careful with pretty girls who sit alone. They'll probably show you more ugly than you ever could handle."